Hello. Okay, so this is definitely a different style video. I'm just gonna get into it. I got my dinner here. It's just pasta with a meat sauce and some spinach and mushrooms and cheese, of course, because you need cheese with little elbow macaroni. It's actually pretty good. So I'm gonna be talking about this last week because last week was like some really weird stuff, mostly in the realm of relationships and people and tarot of all things. So don't judge me too much, but I think we all may have certain family members who do certain things that are kind of like hush hush, like you don't really talk about it too much. I have certain family members who are into tarot and astrology, and it's, the esoteric type stuff. And yeah, I mean, I guess like in Haitian and Jamaican communities, usually everyone's heard about it, whether they've tried it out personally or not. Like usually you've heard about it. Some people are like, what is that? But anyways, I was gifted a deck for my birthday, and so I've been working with it, and it's interesting because I like learning things based off of logic. Like, okay, so for fun, I study different languages, and I love learning new things, as you can probably tell just by my channel. So let me take a bite. So anyways, I like things based in logic that I can understand, and if I don't understand it, then I love pounding it to death until I do, and just researching every single bit that I possibly can until I get, a firm grasp on it. Tarot cards, there's a lot to learn, but there's absolutely no logic to it. It's just like there's some things that you're never going to fully understand, which makes it really interesting. And if you see, tarot cards are actually like thought of as a game, like they're marketed as a game, which is really, really funny. I think the first tarot cards were back in the 1500s, and they were out of Italy. They found other decks in Romania, so people using tarot cards to ask certain questions. As a source of divination has been around for like ever and ever, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So anyways, I was working with my tarot cards last week, and I was just asking silly questions about relationships. Okay, so I have a friend. All right, so I told you guys that I'm moving to Tampa later. Actually it's supposed to be later this week, but some crazy stuff's happening with this hurricane, so hopefully I get down there. But anyways, it's supposed to be later this week. So anyways, my sister, she uses this one messaging app that I never use because I just don't. I only have it just so I can talk to her. So I was on it, and of course my friend is also on it, and I noticed that his he had his profile pic set to a picture of him and a girl, and oh my gosh, I was so shocked because, okay, we've known each other for a few years now, and he's the type of guy who, like, he can be kind, but as far as like talking about women, sometimes he's like, oh, they just want you for your money, and they're always trying to get something for you. So it's just like, being a female friend to a guy who looks at women like this, like, it's kind of weird. But we've always been kind of like open and honest with each other, so he definitely doesn't have a filter when he's around me, even though I am a female. But I don't know, I never really take offense to it because, like, it's not like I'm trying to be with him. But anyways, I just thought it was hilarious that here he is with a pic of a girl as his profile picture. And yeah, I just thought that was so funny, because in the back of my mind, you think about the type of people who put them and their partner as a profile pic. It kind of reminds me of the type of people who have joint Facebook or joint Instagram accounts, where it's like, like Tom and Sarah, and it's just like they just have the one account, which basically means one of them was talking to someone who they weren't supposed to, and now they have trust issues. So, for some people, when you do that, it can kind of look like you're trying too hard, like, just along with the people who maybe they post lots of stuff and just tons of PDA, tons of long posts about how much they're in love with their partner. Usually it can kind of be a sign of overcompensation. Like, I don't know, things might not all be well. Just keep that in mind. So anyways, I messaged him, wow, there is a girl in your profile pic. And he was like, yes, that's my girlfriend. And I don't know where else the conversation went, because well, the last time I talked to him, which really wasn't that long ago, I told him like about this dream I had, and he was there. And yeah, that was the last time we talked. And sometimes he'll reach out to me on other platforms, but I'm really bad at like getting back to people, unless it's like YouTube. So sometimes I just never reply back to him. He kind of like filled me in on everything that's been going on, because we've been friends for years, but over the last 1.5 years, we have not physically seen each other. He was out of the country for a year. I was out of the country for 6 months. And then at one point he was in Texas, I was in New Mexico, and then I was in Florida. Now he's in New York. So, you know, we travel and get around quite a bit. And so physically we have not seen each other in years, but we always, you know, communicate briefly. And so yeah, he was like filling me in a little bit. And I don't know, I just, it's like, wow, he's like in a committed relationship, because he said like they've been together for like 1.5 years, and which I was like, wow, I never thought I would see the day where you're in a committed relationship. He's also one of those that I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, and yeah, I don't know, he just wants a woman around to cook and clean, basically. I'm not sure how the conversation ended that day. I know I talked to him the next day, but that night I decided to pull some tarot cards on him, because I don't know, I pulled tarot cards on my sister and her boyfriend. I pulled tarot cards on my other sister and her husband. I pulled tarot cards just randomly, and then like I write down what I get, and then like I like to compare it to the future, I guess. So I pulled some on him, and this is what I got. I just did a basic Celtic cross, and so for the present, for his present, so as of right now, he got 10 of Swords. Okay, that, some people believe like this is like the worst card of the deck. Okay, 10 of Swords is like all is lost, just abandon it, something is just very wrong, don't even try. I mean, look, it's a guy laying down with 10 swords in his back. So I was just like, oh my gosh, he didn't sound bad, like, you know, what is wrong, like, you know, when we were briefly talking. Well, it was over text message, so obviously I couldn't like hear his tone of voice, but you know, he seemed all right. And when I reached out to him about, you know, just telling him about my dream not too long ago, you know, he sounded perfectly fine then as well. So anyways, I was like, okay, what is this about? Like, if I got this card and I pulled this card for myself, I would be very freaked out. Okay, so his second card was and now this is like the challenge. Okay, what is the issue at this time? So he got 8 of Pentacles, which this is a very work related card. As you can see, it is a guy, he is perfecting his craft. As you can see, this is career related, because this is like money stacking up. And you can see like there's like a town or a village in the background. And I mean, this is a good card. Like, I've gotten this in with my career in the past, and yeah, it always brought like great things. It's a good card to get, but not in a challenge spot. In a challenge spot, he could be having some issues. But you know, this guy, I guess I can use his real name. I mean, his name is Drew. So, you know, Drew has always done well with his career, and he's a little arrogant. I mean, he was an officer in the Army. He went to West Point. He has, you know, a wonderful degree in engineering. I mean, he's always done very well for himself financially. He bought a house before, gosh, I think he was 25. Right now I think he's like 28 or 29. And then that was his first rental property, so he rents that house out to other tenants. And so he's always done very well. So, you know, this kind of worries me, because him and I, we connect as friends on a level of, we had very humble beginnings. Like, he came from like you know, a trailer, and you know, a mom and like 6 different siblings. I grew up in a trailer, and you know, my mom got pregnant with me at 16, and we never had much. And so we both take our careers very seriously, and we both work really hard to have better lives than we did when we were kids. So anyways, obviously that kind of made me sad, like, oh, he's having trouble. Not that it's any of my business until he makes it my business. But anyways, so for the next card is number 3, which is like the past. Okay, so this is just a brief look into their past, and usually this is pretty accurate when I've done this on myself or other people. Usually it gives you a pretty good picture of what's going on. So he has Ace of Pentacles, which is great success, luck, a good foundation. This could be relationship wise, but as you see, it's a pentacle, which, you know, this is a better card for money, you know. Now if this was like specifically like a love reading, then we would talk more about, you know, because this can be for love as well, but you know, in a general reading, we'll just pretend like this has more to do with money, just as it is a pentacle card, which, you know, finances. So anyways, obviously in the past he's always been very successful, so okay, that's a big shocker. So the next is the future. So for the future, he got Knight of Cups. As you see, it's a knight, a young knight riding in with a cup. Cups represent emotion and feelings. There can be romance in there. So think about like Prince Charming, but this can be Prince or Princess Charming, because basically it's like new love rushing in, or it can be old love rushing back. But definitely this is kind of a romantic card. It's funny because like it really doesn't look it, but anyways, this could be reconnecting, kindling an old flame, or meeting someone new out of the blue. This is a very weird card to be getting if you're in a relationship. So keep that in mind. So for the next, so this is number 5. So now this is space number 5. Okay, so the 5th card, it can represent a goal or aspiration or best outcome. I always read it as like the best outcome based off of the cards that were just pulled. And yeah, this is the best outcome after all of that. So we kind of just got to look into his life. And we have the 3 of Swords. So 3 swords stabbing a heart. This is really, really bad. This is not a money card. This is not a career card. This is a love card, okay? This is your relationships ending just abruptly out of nowhere. This is being sad, heartbroken. So this tells me right off the bat that my first thought of him in that picture as his profile pic, which is very uncharacteristic for him. Yeah, he might be trying to overcompensate because things might not all be going well, and so this kind of like solidified that. So his subconscious, okay, for subconscious he has 9 of Cups. So it's a guy, 9 cups. Oddly enough, this card represents like hope, wishes, dreams coming true, getting what you want. Honestly, I don't have enough context because this is a very general reading on him. I did not ask a specific question on him. I just thought about his name, thought about him as a person, and pulled some cards relating to what he's going through right now. So as for his subconscious, I don't really get where this ties in. What is he hoping? What is he wishing for? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough. Honestly, if I probably talked to my family members, they could probably look into this card a little more because they probably have more experience. But for me, I'm just trying to figure it out what that card is trying to say here. Okay, so for advice, okay, so the cards, if you're doing a Celtic cross, is it Celtic or Celtic? I don't know. Anyways, it tries to give you advice on what you should do based off of the information that has been pulled thus far. His is the Devil. This card really isn't as bad as it looks, though. It is the card of earthly pursuits, so that can mean sex and relationships. It could be an addiction, it could be drugs, but it could be addiction to food, it could be addiction to drugs or alcohol, just earthly pursuits, okay? So all that great stuff. This could also, in a positive reading, come out as something bad happening in order to get to something good. So that's just how I read it. But I don't know, it's just troubling to me, because it's like, okay, so he should choose earthly pursuits, you know, kind of like your wants and needs, and that's what's going to get him ahead in this situation. Okay, I had to make more room on my camera, but anyways, yeah, that kind of, okay. I guess something kind of negative has to happen for him to get where he needs to be. Just kind of like, I don't know, just give into your impulses, I guess. I don't know. When I've pulled the Devil card for myself in the past, and usually it just means breaking an old cycle, okay? Some of these bad habits, but the really bad habits that like you've been doing for years. So the things that you really have to work and be mindful of. But if you can break out of it, you can finally, you know, let in new, you know, better energy, maybe more healthy energy. So maybe if you're like stuck on an ex from, you know, just a relationship that was completely bad for you, and you keep on going back and going back and going back, obviously this is a cycle that's hard to break. But if you do, you know, you come out better on the end. So maybe I should have just read it like that for him. I don't know. So here we go to external influences. So this can be external influences, people, events, or energy. He got 4 of swords. He has a lot of swords. Swords can represent aggression, conflict, communication, force, movement, or intellect. So, you know, there's a lot of different avenues you can go with swords. He has a lot of swords going on in here. I'm just going to take that as conflict. But this 4 of swords means stillness, stop, isolation, removing yourself from your outside influences and just going within. And so it's like, oh damn. Oh damn, like what is about to happen? Like, I don't know. Assuming that the 3 of swords means a breakup is on the near horizon, this may be his very near future. This might be the energy of his very near future. Hold on for more information in the story. I just have to show you guys the cards first, and then I'll let you know what happened a few days later. So fear and hopes. This is like their internal fear and hopes. This part can get really confusing, because sometimes our hopes can sometimes be our biggest fears, okay? So hoping that you're going to make it to corporate one day sometimes can be a fear of, okay, what if I don't make it to corporate one day? Do you kind of get what I mean? So for he got a really auspicious card. I mean, this is a good one. Ace of Wands. This is creation. This is anything new. This is birth. This is like making something great. Wands represent passion, creation, ambition, spirit, inspiration, expansion. I mean, you know, this is, I like getting this card. I mean, you know, it's new beginnings, and so maybe he fears new beginnings, change, I don't know. But that's what he got for fears and hopes. And then for the 10, okay, this is the final card. This is the outcome. This is tying all of that together. So from his past to his present challenge, to his best outcome, which you saw the best outcome, it's heartbreak. That's the best outcome that can come. From energy to outside influences, he got 10 of Cups. So that's really good. So at the end of the day, whatever he's going through right now, because remember, we started off, this is where he's at right now. He is like defeated. He is like, oof, he's going through some stuff. I feel so bad. I mean, I don't know. So this is good, but as you see, this is a family. This is love related. Cups represent love, relationships, subconscious, intuition, connections, and emotions. But this card, so that's just like all cup cards in general, okay, that's what they can relate to. But this card in particular is a love, family, happiness, soulmates, and marriage card. So it looks to me that he's just going through a season right now, and yeah, happier times are on the horizon. So that was good. So I did this reading on I pulled these cards on the 27th of August, so last week. And so let me eat some more of this cold pasta. I'm seriously talking to you guys, but anyways. So after doing this, I immediately did one on his girlfriend, which I wasn't sure if I could do readings on people who I've never met, because I've never met her. Other than seeing, you know, her face with his face and, like, you know, their tiny profile picture, you know, I don't know anything about her. So, you know, I tried just to try to think about that, and then I asked my question on her current energy and her future energy, and, you know, I shuffled the cards, and this is what I pulled. So for her present, as of the 27th of August, she's the Sun, which is, this is an amazing card. Like I said, I have a lot of fun pulling cards. Like, okay, this is the type of thing, there are 78 cards in a deck, okay? 78 cards in tarot. And there's so much hidden meaning, from the colors to numerology. Like, so the best way to understand this is to practice. So sometimes I just go crazy and I just like pull tons of cards and I practice, and then I write it down, and then I go back to my notes and I update it after about a week or two, and just to let myself know what happened, what came true, and yeah, so then I can better understand it. So anyways, the Sun, this is like just straight happiness. Like, she's blissed out right now, so I was like, that's good. But he's in like pain right now, so I don't know, you have one who's in pain, and but you have one that's happy and content. So I don't know what to make of that. So for her challenge is not good. Okay, right off the bat, red flags. She has 7 of Swords. It's exactly as it looks. A guy running off, stealing swords. This is the card. Okay, so you guys already know what swords mean, because I already told you swords can represent conflict, they can represent aggression, communication, force, movement, or intellect. So sometimes they just mean intellect, but this specifically is of betrayal, okay? Of having someone get one over on you, or you trying to be sneaky getting one over on someone else, okay? So at this time, I don't know if this means she's being wronged, or he's being wronged, or she's trying to wrong someone else, but for a challenge, that's a hell of a challenge to be having. I don't think anyone wants to, you know, pull the card of betrayal. So for her past, she has this is a great card for, I don't know, just having this represent you at all, even though it's the past. Because really, do you want information on your past, or you want information on like your present and your future? I want information on like my future, but anyways, for the past, she's the Empress. This is a great card for female energy, for femininity. Oh, this is a great one for pregnancy and babies, so it does not always mean pregnancy and babies. But you see Venus over here, and just everything about this is just love, harmony. So I don't know, this is a good card to be represented by. I couldn't read if that meant that's how she is viewed by others, maybe if that's how she was viewed by him, or if she just embodied that. Was she thinking about becoming pregnant? Was she pregnant at one time? Or does it just mean that she was really in love? I don't know. Like I said, this is the past. This would be a better card to represent, you know, the present, though honestly her present looks pretty good too. I mean, it's happiness, so anyways, we won't get nitpicky here. So for the future, it's 6 of Wands, and this was actually my first time ever picking or having this card come up. Like I said, there's 78 cards in a deck, so sometimes you do tons of readings and you never pull a card. Gotta look at my notes. Can do better. It could mean conquest. It could also mean getting the recognition that you deserve. Okay, as you see, this is a guy parading around. You know, obviously this is a joyous occasion. In a relationship, this can possibly be read by some people as read negatively. It could be looked at as you're a conquest, or you're looking for a conquest. Or it can mean winning at the end, so maybe breaking up and then getting back together. I mean, for relationship wise, cannot be the best, but like I said, I didn't really make this too much about a relationship reading. I made it as a general reading just to see what I got. So let's continue getting all of the other cards, and then we'll see if this feels like a work reading, or if it feels like a love reading, or what. His definitely felt like a love reading, just from the Three of Swords and all of that introspection and, you know, removing yourself from the outside world. Like, I don't know, it just had like a lot of breakup vibes. I don't know, am I the only one who got that vibe? Okay, so this is where it gets really weird. So for space 5, okay, so this is the 5th card that's pulled. She got Three of Swords. Okay, this is space 5 is best outcome. So remember how for him the best outcome, right, the best thing that could happen out of all of what was just said from the cards that we had picked was Three of Swords? Well, she got the exact same one. Is that not freaking creepy? So at this point I'm like freaking out. So usually, like, I'm literally like on my bedroom floor, like with all these cards all around me, and I'm like, holy shit. Because of course I reshuffled, I did everything differently after I did his reading, and then to get the exact same card, because I did another Celtic cross, and to get the exact same card in the exact same spot, that was weird. So this is kind of what confirmed it to me that relationship problems. I see breakup, heartbreak, something's going on. Something's going on. Remember, she already has betrayal too. That's her biggest challenge right now, betrayal. And from this card, her present mood, whatever, I don't think she even knows what's really happening. Like, it's gonna kind of hit out of nowhere because she seems happy and content as of right now. So that kind of makes it even worse. So for her subconscious, okay, is Queen of Swords. So this this can be like a female meddling in your relationship. I mean, some people read that for relationships. Some people read this as maybe a painful ending. I don't know. I really didn't know what to think about this card. I couldn't relate it back to her subconscious, so I don't know. I only know so much right now. That's why I'm doing this. I'm learning. So next we have advice. So her advice was the Hanged Man. This is one of just kind of like waiting, making up your mind, putting everything on hold, just figuring it out. Like, he's just thinking, he's just there casually thinking, not moving forward, not even right side up, you're just thinking. And so that was her advice. So I don't know what she has to think about yet, but anyways. External influences. Okay, so this is how I knew for sure this general reading is more relationship based, because that's the bad thing. When you do general readings, you never know what is the main theme until you pick all the cards. So this one kind of solidified it on it. So this one kind of solidified things. This is the Moon. Okay, this isn't the best card to get. It's hard to distinguish reality from fiction. This can mean deception. The future is not what it seems. Secrets. And in a love reading, some people read this as infidelity. So, I was like, oh my god, the tea. The tea from the tarot cards. What is happening? Like, what is happening? Okay, so then for fear, her fears or her hopes, she has Page of Wands. This is another card I wasn't too familiar with. I haven't pulled it too many times, but it's kind of like enthusiasm over anything new. So kind of like how his was Ace of Wands, where for his fear of hopes it was new beginnings. Well, she kind of has fear over just starting over, maybe, for Wands, because I don't think I told you guys. Let me see. Wands, passions, creation, ambition, spirit, inspiration, expansion. So remember, he got the Ace of Wands, she has the Page of Wands, and so, I don't know, it just kind of goes to show you that, I don't know, they kind of have the same fears, I guess, I don't know. That's why we're doing this, because I'm learning. So for 10, her final outcome, okay, tying it all in, she has King of Wands. So remember, his card was happy family, love, romance, whatever. Well, she got King of Wands, which is one of the most unromantic cards that you could pull. even in love readings, yeah, this is more about becoming a leader, a cycle of change, stepping up to the plate, having determination and independence. Yeah, lifestyle change. So yeah, when you pull a card, sometimes you can think, okay, well, maybe that means she's going to get with a man that embodies this, but you have to think, why did I pull this card? And it couldn't have been one of the other 77 cards. Like, out of all of the cards, I got this one. Okay, so this has nothing to do with romance. I think this has to do with her inner work. I think she's going to be working to become independent, stepping up to the plate. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know, but I gotta let you guys know what I know, because you don't know what I know yet. So I did a follow-up card after that reading because I had some questions about her, and I asked about her relationship being, so we got the Four of Cups. This is the card of boredom. We have a guy here with his arms crossed, chilling out. He is being given a gift, and as you can see, he's not even paying attention. In fact, he has 3 cups right in front of him that he's also not paying attention to. In a relationship, this is kind of like things that ran its course. You're bored. It's, trust me, there's nothing romantic about this card, sadly. So yeah, that's what I got for that. So I wrote all of that down, 27th of August. Okay, so I think I gotta get the receipts. I gotta get the receipts because this is too crazy. That's why I'm like sharing it, because I even can't believe it. So Friday the 30th. So on the 30th, Drew calls me, and usually in the past we had talked a lot. He likes talking on the phone just because it's easier than, it's more direct of conversation than sitting there, you know, texting all day. So he was on his way to work, and you know, at first he tells me about his new job. Okay, so he moved to New York, he got a new job, he got out of the military, and so right off the bat I'm thinking about his challenge. Okay, because from his past, remember, he had Ace of Pentacles. Okay, that's success in money and career. Like, this is a great card to get for that. But then all of a sudden, for his challenge, we have another career related card, and this is and for some reason, even though this is a very good card, he had it in the spot of challenge. So obviously he must be having some sort of issues. So he starts telling about his issues in his new engineering job. Apparently he has people underneath him that, I guess he's a manager, he's in charge of them. They weren't really doing what they're supposed to do. They're behind on one of their $1 million projects, and some things were not correctly ordered, and they're actually gonna lose money, and they're gonna be months behind, and this is all now coming down on him. They actually weren't able to fill the spot for 9 months until they found him, and so it's utter chaos. And he was like, he's just having a really tough time. So there we go. So that was check 1 for confirmation on half of the spread that I did a few days before. So then we talk about me a little bit. I told him how England was, how Germany was, and you know, everything that's gone on the past year and a half. Just, you know, normal stuff. Really, there wasn't anything crazy. Like I said, when we talk, we just talk normally. There isn't really anything sexual or weird to say. So then he gets on to his relationship, and apparently that has been an entire trip. Maybe I shouldn't be telling this part of the story. Yeah, I shouldn't be telling this part of the story yet. I suck at storytelling. Okay, well, let me go back. I'm gonna turn off the camera. I did a compatibility spread after I did, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. I did a compatibility spread on them just to see what their compatibility was after doing these cards, because of course my intuition is telling me that this was directly related to a relationship, but I could be wrong because I'm new at this. So anyways, let me get the cards. Okay, so we're back. I had to get out all the cards. Like I said, you have to shuffle through like 78 cards, and so I had to pull the ones that I pulled last time, so then I can show you guys the visual of what the card is while I read off what it means and what's in my notes. Alright, so after I did that whole thing on them, okay, the different Celtic crosses, I still can't figure out if I want to say Celtic or Celtic. I don't know. Recommendations. my pasta is officially cold, but who cares? I'm on a roll talking because this is really interesting. When you guys get the full tea, you're gonna be like, holy shit. So anyways, see, it's always fun when it's not happening to you. Some of these readings I'm too scared to do on myself because I've done readings on myself before, and when it comes true, it's like you're about to wet yourself. Like, sometimes if you get a bad reading or something like that, it can give you anxiety and fear, especially if you've seen the cards come true in the past. You kind of know that I can't explain how this is right because this isn't logical, but yeah, something about it, I don't know. I mean, I see why it's been around for hundreds of years now, but anyways, we're gonna continue on. So I did just a simple little 5-card spread on them. And I did first a 5-card spread on combative. Goodness gracious. That's the look you make when your ex-husband texts you. No, my ex-husband's great, by the way. He's really amazing. But obviously I'm trying to make this video, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna message back. So we did him in a relationship, her in a relationship, and then we just did a simple compatibility spread. So him in a relationship, he got, okay, so this is directly related to him in a relationship with him and the girl, okay? So, Page of Cups, okay? This is, obviously it's a younger gentleman, okay, which he is pretty young, he's under 30. Sensitive, you may be a little needy, maybe a bit immature, okay, because you see he's holding a fish and a cup and he's dressed a little eccentric, and cups is one of emotions, and I think also this represents cancers, if I'm not, yeah, look at all that water. But anyways, yeah, if you get this and this is like representing you or representing someone else, then just know those are the characteristic traits in that relationship. So that's kind of like the dynamic. So her in a relationship is the Hermit. Now the Hermit isn't necessarily a bad card. I know it looks kind of dark. I mean, in certain readings it can be, you know, kind of negative, but I usually don't read it as negative. Sometimes it just means going in to yourself, kind of withdrawing away. It definitely is a card representing solitude, withdrawal, and in a negative reading, which you don't know if the reading's negative until you've pulled all of the cards and then you just, you know, compare. So in an overly negative reading, it would mean like maybe depression. Obviously this is a really good card to get in a relationship spread because this is basically representing her in a relationship. So that's the space. So this is her, withdrawal. So why is she withdrawing? We don't know. Well, anyways, we're gonna continue on. Can't get ahead of myself. So for the past, this is their recent past. We have 9 of Swords. I actually pull this card a lot for myself. This is what I would call the anxiety card, the fear card. Let's see what the ex-husband wants. Hopefully everything is okay. Okay, probably will have to call him right after this is done. But anxiety and fear, as you see, I mean, this is the type of stuff that wakes you up in the middle of the night and that you're worrying about. So kind of shows this was their recent past, so something was going on. Doesn't really tell me a lot pertaining to what, but there's definitely some anxieties and some worries. So for their current energy right now is the Emperor. The Emperor is a very masculine card. Remember how when we did Drew's reading, his general reading, I was talking about the Knight of Cups, how this is kind of like a very romantic card, like, you know, new love rushing in, or, you know, being swept off your feet. But it could also mean like, you know, getting back with an ex or meeting someone new. But this could be Prince Charming coming in, but it could also be like, you know, Princess Charming coming in. You know, it could be a girl or a boy, depending on, you know, who the recipient is and their, you know, sexual orientation. But anyways, this one can kind of go either or. Okay, this is just like a very romantic card. Okay, this one you can't really do that. This is very, very masculine, very boss. yeah, I'm the boss, I'm in charge. A lot of times in readings, this represents the father, but it could also just mean another man who is in charge, or even like a boss. It's just very male power, and it can be a good thing because it can show stability, but it could also be a bad thing. In certain readings, it could be a bossy male, which no one likes bossy people. So at this point, when we just look at all the cards that we've pulled so far, I would say this is kind of leaning towards being a not so positive reading. So we're just gonna go with that energy and continue pulling because we're not done yet, and then we'll get a better view of what the situation is. So that's the current, and then for their future we have Ace of Swords. I like drawing the Ace of Swords because this means breakthrough. Okay, we have a sword, it's cutting up through, and then this could be like a radical change. But the issue when it comes to this in love readings, which is this is specifically a love reading, this can mean hot or cold. So this could be things changing for better or for worse, an unknown outcome. So you really don't know, but there's going to be a turning point, and this is a future outcome. So the turning point is pretty close, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so I don't really know. I mean, I got neutral vibes and I got kind of negative vibes from that whole reading. So for his wants in a relationship, we have 10 of Swords, or 10 of Wands, sorry. As you see, this is this is back-breaking work, okay? This guy is working to get these 10 swords up this whatever, this hill. I don't know what he's doing. He's building something. But this specifically means hard work. In a relationship reading, it can mean your partnership brings stress and burdens, or you are carrying all of the weight. Okay. So yeah, that is that. Now her want in a relationship is the Hierophant. The Hierophant, some people read this as the Pope card. This is the card of tradition, okay? You definitely don't want to go against the grain if you ever get this card, especially if it's in an outcome position. This means go along with what everyone else is doing, do it by the book. So this is what she wants in a relationship, and so right off the bat, I could tell you probably marriage and children, which, if you guys remember, I said before in this video that he did not want marriage or children the last time I had checked since we've known each other. So for their differences, we have the Magician. This can be a very auspicious card in other readings, but for love readings, this is not so good. The female counterpart of this would be the High Priestess, and if you know the High Priestess, you know that this means secrets, okay? The Magician has lots of secrets. He never reveals his secrets. Also, this could mean hard work. Also, it can represent infidelity, specifically for if it's a relationship reading. But right off the bat, I think we can kind of see that this went from a neutral reading to negative pretty quickly. So I wrote all that down, and then we'll go back to where I was before. Okay, so on the 30th, he calls me. We're talking about work, whatever, what's been up with me, and then he gets in on his relationship. So she moved out there, but before, when they were in the other city, she had trouble at keeping a job. So a lot of the times he said he would help her with some of her bills because she was only able to get part-time jobs. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, that's where we get that 10 of Wands. Okay, someone is carrying the burden. Okay, so it's not very equal as far as finances go. And then he said that a really huge issue that just happened right before they moved, which they moved only 3 months ago, was that she traded in her car, her old car, which was like a $200 car note, and she got a sports car, and the sports car is $750 a month. And so she did that, and then she followed him to New York, and she has been out of a job for the last 3 months. So I was like, oh snap. Okay, so you guys know money in a relationship is very important. We already know that he does very well, and he did say that this new engineering job, he is making 6 figures, but he's one of those people who he needs equality in a relationship. I'm not saying that he needs someone who makes the same amount of money as he is, but definitely have to match his energy. I'm kind of giving you guys like the Cliff Notes version, because in our conversation he's like cursing and stuff. Like he was just like, she, you know, he definitely has no respect for her. He just keeps on saying like, I always have to repeat myself to her, and then when I come home she hasn't done anything all day and she sleeps most of the time, and you know, she's spending all of my money, which for me that's like, okay, I didn't tell him this, but whenever a guy starts talking about my money, I mean, it's kind of pathetic. Like, you should never really talk like that. But like I said, from his background, he came from having nothing. So anyways, obviously money is pretty important. If you come from, you know, an area of lack, obviously once you start making money, you can kind of look at yourself as like the best catch out there, and so that's when you start using verbiage like my money, spending all of my money and not doing anything. And so anyways, he just kind of came off as like really whiny, and so I was honest like I usually am with him, and just said, you know, when you guys are having these conversations, because right off the bat, like I said, he was cursing. I think he might have called her a bitch during this. You know, I told him that you need to be more kind and obviously show a little bit of respect when you're talking to her, because some people, they just don't respond well to negativity like that. And you know, if you're talking any type of way you want with someone, you know, you're not going to get the best results. Do you know what I mean? But it was pretty apparent to me that their relationship at this point, and this is not going off the cards, this is just from his and I, our conversation, which mostly was just him venting to me. I didn't say much because it's not really my business. It felt like he just needed to vent, so I just shut up. But I think at this point it's pretty toxic, just the way he was talking about her. Like, I think it's over as far as in his head. And he did come out and say that sometimes he thinks about just buying her a U-Haul, having her pack up her stuff and move, though he said that he is being the best man in a wedding, I think this weekend or next weekend, and so they'd be going out of town for that. And so I don't know if he's just using her as a +1, and then afterwards he's gonna get her the U-Haul. Like, I don't know what's happening. They got into another argument about boarding their dogs. There's 2 dogs in the house, and you know, she said that, you know, she was okay with paying more money so both the dogs can be boarded together, because one boarding place wouldn't take one of the dogs because they weren't neutered or something. And he was like, you know, oh, she'll pay more because it's my money, you know, because he's paying for everything at this point because she doesn't have a job. And so anyways, it just seemed really freaking toxic. It actually seemed just like a dumpster fire. And so yeah, as far as the reading that I did on her, the Celtic Cross, and I told you guys that for her outcome, I saw her getting the King of Wands, independence, stepping up to bat, becoming a leader, whether that's with him or that's just going out on her own. That makes sense. Like, that card makes sense, because at first it's just like, how does this card relate to relationships? It doesn't. King of Wands just doesn't. But now it's all kind of coming together. And then he talked about, you know, their past a little bit. It's so funny because I did not push or poke for any of these details. Like, he's always been pretty like forthcoming with just information, because like I said, it's been very platonic between he and I, so there's really nothing to hide. So he said, you know, in the past, before they made things official, he was in Afghanistan for a year, and he said he was talking to other girls, and she was going through one of his old phones one day, and she found some of the messages, and so it turned into this huge thing. And seeing that, I saw some, you know, we pulled some secret cards, we pulled some infidelity cards. there might be some more that could have happened afterwards, on his part, or maybe on her part, I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy to me how much of what was in the cards kind of checked out. And it checked out only like, what, 2 or 3 days after I pulled them, so I was just kind of freaking out about that. But this video is probably super long, so I'm going to leave it here, and I'm gonna eat my cold pasta. But I just felt like I had to share that with you guys. I don't understand tarot cards, but the tea was real on this one, and now you'll see why I refrained from doing. I don't ask certain questions for myself. Like maybe I'll do like a reading on, like, I don't know, work or something like that, but there's just certain questions I don't ask because I'm too scared of what the answer could be. And now you know why, because literally those cards gave us like a whole movie before I even knew any details other than a boy is with a girl and they've been going out for 1.5 years. Oh, and they're both, you know, she's in his profile pic. Like, okay. And then I got all of this, like, wait, what? So I will keep you guys posted on how this turns out, because I'm very, very interested to see. We have not talked to each other within, I think, about, I don't know, a day or so, and it got kind of weird actually, because we were talking about, we both like the same sports, and so it's in season again. And he was talking about, you know, going, and, you know, he likes to practice a lot. And so he was like, well, I work so much, I'm probably not gonna be able to get out there as much. And so, and then he said something about, I'm not able to get away from the girlfriend and the dogs. And I was just like, well, just take them with you. And then he just kind of like left me on red for an entire day, which is kind of rude, but whatever. Apparently he didn't like that. Also, there was one point where the conversation kind of went from platonic and casual to something that I would not be comfortable if his girlfriend was like reading, because like it would look like, I don't know, it just wasn't appropriate. So I moved the conversation away from there, and then he asked me why I was like dodging it, and then, you know, I told him that I wouldn't be, you know, we wouldn't be talking like that while he's in a relationship. And he was just like, why not? I would welcome it. And yeah, we just kind of left that at that. So as far as the infidelity cards, I definitely think it's on his part, because he's already showing signs. Yeah, don't be too weirded out with the tarot cards. Like, yes, Lord Jesus Christ is my savior. Don't worry. I'm a baptized Christian, but I have some family members who might be kind of bad influences, and so yeah, my curiosity may have got the best of me.